Hallo, assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Khush aamdeed. Ji ayanu. Goeiemorgen. Pakhair ragale washmalechu nishume. Welcome to Well This Morning, ladies and gentlemen, which is a Hashmi on a very pleasant Wednesday morning. Not chilly anymore, I tell you that. Well, it's been raining for 2 days straight in the Twin Cities, I mentioned yesterday as well, but it wasn't, towards the end of the day yesterday, and now it's not even today. So I'm hoping it's going to get a little more pleasant than it was for the previous few days. But I really hope for everyone watching right now, even those who are not watching, you're all healthy out there, you're all perfectly fine as well, and remembering me and my entire team in your prayers as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of students are now going back to school because their winter break is over, and a lot of university students too, and a lot of people who were to probably apply for their universities are in the phase of, preparing as well. So everyone's a little busy now. And especially in Pakistan, when we, mashallah, enjoy 4 seasons so brilliantly, we love winters too. Nothing, I feel like, in the winter or in any season can restrict us from having a lot of fun as well. This I'm saying because just yesterday, a lot of my friends on my Instagram and my Snapchat, I was watching their stories and they were in the north of Pakistan. And oh my God, I literally forgot that I had once a dream of going to Switzerland because it was so beautiful. I kid you not, without any exaggeration, the Pasukones as well, the Gilgit side and everything right now, it is so surreal. It literally feels like it's out of a movie. So stunning, so beautiful. Alhamdulillah, Pakistan is definitely blessed with so much beauty. I feel like even if we talk about it every day, we cannot do justice to it. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, while winter is so much fun, I feel like in Pakistan, winter is also the wedding season. A lot of my friends, almost all of them actually belonging to my age group have gotten married in the previous 2 months or something, especially the winter season, and some are going to do in the near future as well. Weddings are such a big matter of festivities for Pakistanis. We just love getting together and just love enjoying and sharing our happiness and festivities with our fellows as well. But when we are talking about marriages and weddings, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just the pomp and show that we do, holding mehndis and sangeet nights and whatnot. I'm not condemning it. If you are willing to, if you want to enjoy that way, sure, go ahead, why not? But there is definitely a religious factor to it as well. I feel like it's such a divine message. Imagine the creator who created you and the entire universe. He has a plan for you. Imagine he has a person, he has planned to get married with you, for you both to carry on your life together in the future as well. I feel like it's such a divine thing to talk about as well. And the feeling of it is so pure too. You just feel like you found your soulmate. You're going to spend your life with this one person happily together in the future, sharing your sorrows, your joys. Well, that is what the meaning of marriage has been for me, and I really hope that it turns out to be positive for everyone out there as well, because of course there are some, I feel like society has created some negative aspects of marriage as well. So if I haven't given it all away already, we are talking about marriages and nikah specifically, how and what it means under our religion, Islam. And for this purpose, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like we had no one better to call in the show. This is our favorite Islamic scholar. We often have him on the show as well, Mr. Imran Sandhu Saab. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Welcome to the show again. It's been a long time, but we're always happy to have you back.
Thank you very much.
All right, so sir, you did hear about the introduction. We're talking about nikah today specifically. So I want you to explain in terms of our religion, in terms of whatever you have studied, what nikah, the term, means.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nikah actually means when a woman and a man agrees to spend life with each other after a contract.
Okay.
In the presence of 2 witnesses.
All right.
And after the khutbah of nikah.
Okay.
So the precondition of a nikah is that there should be a consent of the man and the woman both. The woman's consent can be taken through a naib or his guardian or his wakil.
All right.
If the woman for a girl who is just who's unmarried up till now, if she's asked that if she wants to marry or not, and even if she remains quiet because of shyness, that thing is also implied as her consent.
As a yes. Okay.
As a yes.
Okay.
But that is not the case if she is divorced or if she's a widow, then she has the wakil has to ask an explicit condition,
Yeah.
acceptance if she wants to marry or not.
All right.
So
all right.
the most important thing in Islam is the consent
Of
of
both the parties.
both the parties involved, the man, the bride, and the to be the bride and to be
Yeah.
the groom, to be ready for being married to each other.
All right. Thank you so much for saying that, Sandhu Saab. But you know, when we're talking about religion, I feel like, of course, religion is while a part of our society. There are some cultural and societal values that we have attached to marriage as well, and they have been coming forward from since our ancestors. You know that, right? So I think you very rightfully mentioned that our religion, our God, gives us the right of consent from both the parties. But again, I'm sorry I have to say this, but culturally speaking, some segments of our society are still in that era where they would probably enforce a marriage upon a child, be it a girl, be it a boy. In terms of enforced marriages, how does that go?
Well, if a marriage is has been contracted without the consent
Yeah.
of the bride or a groom,
Okay.
by way of coercion,
Yeah.
according to the Hanafi school of thought,
Okay.
it it will be valid.
It will be valid. Okay.
It will be
okay.
valid.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's an if it is taken to the court of law,
Right.
the court of law has the authority to decide against it.
Oh, all right.
And it will decide against it.
Okay. Okay.
The reason being, the reason that it becomes valid is that after nikah, if the marriage consummates, there's a probability of children being born to it.
Right.
So if the jurists say that it was invalid,
Okay.
the legal values attached to the child are going to be affected.
All right.
So that
all
is
right.
why the jurists say that it is valid, but it is not recommended at all.
Okay, valid but not recommended.
Yes.
Of course. Okay, that does make
so
sense.
that we can enforce a marriage without the consent of the bride or the groom.
Right, and I don't think even
Both
if
of
it
them.
is lawful or not, I feel like it's not human to do this to
It's-
someone,
it's-
right?
that
I mean,
is
you
why.
are going to spend your entire life with someone. You should definitely have at least the right to choose. But Sandhu Saab, I read somewhere, please correct me if I'm wrong, and if I'm right, please enhance upon this topic as well, that there is no nikah in secrecy. Does that mean the court marriages do not count?
Court marriage is not a secret marriage, actually.
Okay.
It is a marriage that is
In the presence of witnesses?
yes, it is. It needs witnesses. It needs a judge
Yeah.
who is going to ask for offer and acceptance. So it is not a marriage in secrecy.
But what is secrecy? What do you mean by secrecy?
A secret marriage would be a marriage where these things are absent.
Okay.
Then there is another level of secrecy
Yeah.
that you've got a khatib or a person who has you've got two witnesses, but you have
Alright.
not announced it to the general public through walima.
Okay.
So in this case, it is not recommended,
Right.
but the marriage is still going to be valid.
All right. So
If
announcement is necessary.
if you've got two witnesses,
Yeah.
and then you have also gone through the khutbah of nikah.
Okay.
And one thing more that I would like to add upon is the khutbah of nikah is something that is compulsory to a marriage. Without
course.
all the fuqaha agree that a marriage without khutbah of nikah, even though if the khutbah of nikah is recited, the recital is recited by the groom himself,
Yeah. It doesn't count?
it count.
Okay, it does
counts.
count.
But
Okay.
then you have to have two witnesses at the time of that khutbah as well.
Oh, all
Except
right.
one school of thought says that if the two witnesses are not present, at the time of the khutbah, but before consummating the marriage, you have to have two witnesses upon them.
All right, at least two witnesses. So
Yeah.
this is what secrecy means. And thank you so much for clearing my thoughts as well, because it was sort of a vague, very vague for me when I read in secrecy, because it didn't make sense to me, probably because maybe announcement matters, maybe a proper function matters, but thank you so much for clearing that thought as well. But you know, when we're talking about marriage and weddings and everything, it is not just an Islamic thing all around the world. This is a social contract. People who both sides, when they agree to become one, when they agree to carry on a family together, they will get married. So Sandhu Saab, what do you think are the main differences between the marriage that we know and the Western marriage?
There's a whole lot of difference
Okay.
of the basic concept of the department of marriage in Islam
Okay.
if we compare it to the West.
Yeah.
Let's try to understand what is the position of a woman
Okay, yes, let's begin with that.
in Islam.
Hmm.
You know, a woman in Islam actually is the main stakeholder of the household.
Right.
She is the Rabbul Bayt.
Of course, queen of the house.
She is the queen of the house.
Yes.
And you know, it's a man's duty, it's a man's obligation, it's obligatory on a man to provide to the woman.
Right.
What he has to provide is the clothing, proper clothing,
Okay.
proper pocket money,
All right.
and a house,
A shelter. Okay,
a
perfect.
shelter. So a home is very much related to a woman in Islam. You know, you cannot keep two women in one house as wives. You have to give two separate houses.
Oh.
If you are married to two women, you have to attach one house to one woman. So this is the
Alright.
basic right of a woman. So in the West,
Yeah.
the basic unit of the society is an individual.
Okay.
Women separate, a man separate. In
Alright.
Islamic culture and in Islamic society, a Sharia compliant society,
Right.
the basic unit of humanity and the basic unit of society is a household.
Okay. All right.
So,
we're more, collectivistic sort of. We're not individualistic in terms of our culture.
yes, you
Yeah.
know, and there is a proper hierarchy in in Muslim societies. The hierarchy, there's a defined hierarchy of a household.
All right.
The man is the head of the family,
Right.
and the woman is the head of the house.
Yeah.
So whatever is going on inside of a shelter, inside of a home, that the main decision has to be taken by a woman in presence of a policy that is defined by his husband.
All right.
So you know, the delegation of the upbrought or upbringing of the children is the basic responsibility of a man, while the training and the education is the responsibility of a woman.
Isn't it a collective responsibility, Sandhu Sahab?
Yes, but there are different aspects to collective responsibility.
Alright.
There are different angles. The policy has to be given by the
Defined by the male. Okay.
by the male, and the implementation has to be done by the woman.
Okay, got it.
So this
Got
is
it.
this is a kind of they can also interchange some of the responsibilities by the mutual consent, but as it says, "Qu anfusakum wa ahlikum naran," for a man it is obligatory to save the skin of every member of the household from the hellfire.
All right, got it.
Allah
So
subhanahu
he
wa ta'ala.
has to make the system in such a way that first of all it complies to the values of the religion Islam itself,
Yes.
and then of course that he makes sure, like you said, that they're safe from the fire of hell as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. But now moving on to some very basic, probably misconceptions I'm going to say, but that is why we have this amazing Islamic scholar over here, ladies and gentlemen, so that we clear them. So when we talk about dowry, of course, we have seen our Prophet ﷺ never to pay heed on something materialistic, right? Even to the daughter who is the most superior female of the entire world, he did not bother, thinking about big things giving to her and whatnot. So sorry, I dropped my earring. All right, so I mean, we're talking about dowry, but in such a society where if the parents and the female, let's see, they both are willing to, consensual to pay dowry, and the male side is not asking for it, is it valid? Is it okay to do that?
Islam does not put the burden of dowry on a woman and her family.
Right.
While it gives the burden of dowry to the man and the man himself or his family if the family supports him, but it is the basic responsibility of a man to give dowry to a woman, and that is also known as haq mahar.
Right, I was coming to that. You very beautifully linked it.
So again, the responsibility of giving finances is basically the duty or the obligation of a
Right.
man instead of a woman.
Wow.
The woman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while a woman is free to work, free to own a property, free to spend her own what she owns.
Right.
She also actually can demand
Okay.
and has a right to get the dowry from the husband that has been decided at the time of nikah.
All right.
Now, if somebody, if the marriage is consummated without the dowry that has to be given by the man to the woman has not been decided at the time of marriage, then there's a benchmark dowry that is
That
different,
must be given, yeah.
that must be given, and that is different in different school of thoughts.
All right. All right.
However, it is necessary for a man legally as well as socially as well as morally to give dowry on demand, and it's much better to give this dowry at the time of when the marriage consummates.
All right, thank you so much for again saying that. This is so enlightening for me early in the morning, ladies and gentlemen. But so you talked about haq meher, and you said that a woman may demand what she wants in her haq meher. Is that true?
Yes.
Anything.
You
and that has
cannot
to be
marry her without agreeing to the dowry if she demands.
Wow,
It's
the religion
not-
is so empowering towards women as well, isn't
Yes.
it? Right?
Yes, and she can demand any amount,
Oh wow.
even $1 billion rupees if she wants to demand, depending upon who can give or who
Whoever
cannot
can
give.
afford.
But it's Islam empowers a woman
Yeah.
to demand dowry as much as she wills.
All right. So, sir, when you're talking about the haq meher, if it is decided and consented upon by both the parties, does it have to be paid during the wedding, after, God forbid, if the wedding is annulled or let's say they get divorced, or right after the nikah? When is she able to receive it?
First of all, the best time
Yeah.
to give this dowry, the preferred time to give this dowry is at the time of nikah.
All right.
But there is a provision in Sharia that it can be delayed by the consent of both the parties. Especially, the consent giver should be the woman
Okay, got it.
herself. So yes, it can be delayed, but it is not preferred.
Okay, it can be delayed but not preferred. All right, so one more thing. I think this was a bunch of us were actually sitting yesterday together and people were discussing how we have heard from different school of thoughts that after probably 40 days or 3 months, if you, like you said, you do not consummate your marriage, it may get invalid or void. Is it true?
No, it's not true.
Okay.
um, but the thing is, you know, there are three things in which, according to the Hanafi school of thought,
Right.
there are three things that if you are not even joking, that would validate. It would validate the marriage. It would validate a contract.
Okay.
And in marriage, there are two things: the contract of the marriage, the offer and acceptance.
Right.
If we even are joking in terms of jokes, we
Yeah.
are if a woman and a man is discussing in front of two witnesses, the marriage is going to be legally implemented.
Oh, all right.
So, if you are joking, if you are in anger, accept one of the school of thoughts. So, fourth school of thoughts, agree upon this, that
Okay.
if you are joking, the marriage is going to become valid. If you are joking, the marriage can also be turn into a divorce.
Okay.
So, what was your question?
My question was, sir, that I'm so sorry, I even slipped it off my mind as well. But when we are talking about marriage, I think it is very important to, you already mentioned the conditions of it. But, sir, another very important thing, I think belonging to the religion and the society as well, a very common notion is for men to say that yes, it is a sunnah to at least get married to, at least get in nikah with officially and religiously with at least 4 women who may be deserving and upon consent as well. But that is, I want to say, if you can do insaf among all of them, right? That is the precondition, isn't it? Because a person, when we're talking about our last prophet, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no one other than him can actually do that level of insaf that he did. And now, sir, lately as well, in the Nikah-nama, I think the women has the right to, has the upper hand that the man has to seek permission for a second marriage. Are these both in sync? And please explain to me, because this is a little confusing.
Okay, I remember the last question. That
Sorry,
if,
I couldn't.
that if a marriage becomes invalidated automatically.
Oh,
after
40
3 months,
days, yes, all
so
right.
it will not become invalid.
Okay, it will not.
But it needs a process of separation for a woman. A woman does not have a right to invalidate the marriage herself, but she has to go through a qazi or a court of law.
Right, right.
As far as the section in the Nikahnama, it is there's a question. The Hanafi school of thought
Right.
gives permission to do a tafweez of talaq. That is, if at the time of nikah,
Yeah.
this right is given to a woman,
Yes.
according to that form that we have, we fill in at the time of nikah, the right to divorce actually is granted to the woman, but it is not preferred mode of giving separation.
All right.
So
all right.
I would say that while legally it is it is valid, but substantially it is invalid.
Invalid. All right. I think you did explain it very beautifully. Thank you for being here, Sandhu Saab. We do have always, short on time in the first segment especially, but I feel like this is such a detailed topic, sir, because I still have so many questions about nikah, which we have been told religiously, of course, but then again, there are some societal values that have been inculcated in our minds as well, and in the act of nikah as well. So I feel like, inshallah, in the near future, we're going to have another segment with Sandhu Saab as well, in which we will cover all the details. Thank you so much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, for all the women who are about to get married, this is 2 things that you need to remember. Go to the page of Nigat Dad and then Sharmeen Ubaid Chinoy. I'll tell you why. Nigat Dad has actually posted a detailed account of what you should know in your Nikah Nama. I mean, she has put a theoretical overview over there, and Sharmeen Ubaid actually, for your convenience, created animated sort of series in which she tells you what your rights as a woman have been given by the religion to you. So you must know them before you sign your nikah paper. We're right now headed to a very short break, but when we come back, we're talking about something so important that we need to realize as a society. Stay tuned. Good morning. Welcome back to World This Morning, ladies and gentlemen, which is Hashmi on a very informative Wednesday morning. This is informative, I'll tell you why, because if you missed the first segment, we spoke with an Islamic scholar about nikah, the virtue of nikah in the light of our religion and then in the light of our society as well. But right now, before we went on a short break, I told you we need to talk about something very important, and we need to. I feel like ever since I've joined this show, World This Morning, we have been on and off having shows about it. But this is the first time actually I'm going to be in conversation with a person so amazing and going to talk about things firsthand rather than, just generalizing things. So ladies and gentlemen, to begin with, I feel like as a society, as a nation, as a country, as an entire world, we have failed humanity just by discriminating among genders. I mean, of course, there is this fight going on for feminism as well for such a long time. Females need equal rights and whatnot. But this is not just two genders, of course, right? There is definitely more than just a male or a female. Maybe sometimes people are born with a gender that they do not identify with. They are transgenders as well. And maybe sometimes they need medical assistance to probably change their gender that they most identify with. They again come under the umbrella of transgenders. it's such a diverse term, and probably I will not do justice to explaining it as well. Which is why, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be in conversation with such an amazing person. This person is the actually first MPhil in the transgender community as well. She's so well spoken. I've been in conversation with her before the show too. She is the first transgender to work in the Federal Ministry of Human Rights as well, mashallah. She's been hosting as well. She's been MOC on shows too. And she's a lecturer in Quaid-e-Azam University as well, Iqbal University too, expert consultant in human rights ministry, as already mentioned. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on my show Aisha Mughal. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, please.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's my pleasure, Aisha. Thank you so much for being here. And I feel like in the introduction, I actually did such a small intro about what we are talking about. So basically, we're talking about what the rights of transgenders are in our society, and have we as a society failed to provide the rights to them? So Aisha, to begin with, first of all, mashallah, you have such an amazing list of credentials to your name. You're doing such a great job. I want you to let me know, how has your experience been so far in the Human Rights Ministry, and what exactly do you do there?
My experience with the Ministry of Human Rights has been amazing.
Yeah.
Because you know, when I was studying, when I was in my teenage,
Yeah.
I never saw a transgender person working in any mainstream organization.
Right.
And today we see transgender people working in mainstream organizations, and my experience with the Ministry of Human Rights is I think it's amazing, because I am in a position where I can make a difference, not
Exactly.
only for myself, for the entire transgender community.
Aisha, how does that feel? I'll let you know. I've actually been, for my bachelor's as well, and even for my master's degree too, I have, intentionally opted for projects where I was working with probably transgenders in terms of, studying them as well, writing their profiles. It was always an amazing experience for me. But like you rightly mentioned, I have not seen someone in such a powerful role, mashallah. Again, this is a first for me too, to meet with you. Where does that begin? Not allowing equal rights to transgenders, let alone male or females.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, where does that begin? Do you feel like, because I'll try to explain it better. Rejection begins at family level, the first moment that you're
Yes.
born, and you cannot, openly identify with the mainstream genders, one or two. I mean, that is where rejection begins.
Yes. You know, even today, with all these legal developments in the country, the problem that transgender community faces is about the family acceptance.
Right,
Because
absolutely.
you know, till date, the transgender identity is considered to be stigma. Families and siblings, they don't feel comfortable in owning their transgender child and sibling. So that has to be changed.
Right,
And
absolutely.
we need to highlight the positive role models that are there in our transgender community, because people have always seen transgender people in Pakistan begging on roads or dancing on the weddings. But now when people see that transgender people can be lecturers, transgender people can work in the ministries, transgender people can run businesses. I mean, we have entrepreneurs in the transgender community who are running their salons, who are running cafeterias. So we need to highlight these positive examples, and I think media has to play a very important role, because
Absolutely.
what we see even today is that many media channels, they portray transgender person as a laughing stock.
Right.
That has
right.
to end, and we need to highlight that the transgender. See, what I always believe is that gender doesn't matter. I mean,
Does not, yes.
at my workplace, the job that I'm doing, my skills matter. I need to be experienced in the profession that I'm in.
Absolutely.
So the gender doesn't matter.
It does
right?
not. You're so
Yeah.
right. And not only in your workspace, I'll tell you, Aisha, in any sphere of life, gender should not matter. And I think right now I have to take you back to where you said transgenders were often probably portrayed or even seen in our society as probably begging on the roads or dancing at functions and weddings and whatnot. This is not something that they defined or chose for themselves. Like I mentioned, I've been in conversation with them. I have a lot of transgender friends too. And I'll tell you, Aisha, and you will agree with me actually, some of them, even if they struggled to manage to get a matric, let's say, that level of education, and they do go to different places for jobs, no one will hire them. Let's see, for example, a fast food chain. If you go there and you tell them you want to work there, there are chances you're not going to get hired, first of all. I mean, you need to agree and accept the fact that being a transgender kid, it was not easy for the person to go to school and receive regular education that a regular child did. Because even at school, first of all, they were not given the rights to probably choose their classes, discriminated on the basis of gender, and then they were laughing stock by the students. Bullying goes on for such a long time, even by the teachers, by the students, what not. So, I mean, it dates back to in time. It's not just something that just happens over time, you know, you're a grown-up person and you start begging. It is inculcated in our minds ever since we are children in schools. So you have been working in the ministry for a year now?
For like 9 months.
Oh, that's amazing, mashallah. So, of course, while we very easily blame the system as well, let's begin with the society. Let's begin with the students at school who do not accept you to sit among them as well. How can we change that?
See, I would like to share that when I was studying, and many transgender people who are educated, they have to study as a boy because we do not have policies for the transgender students till date. But you know, I was never a boy. I was always feminine. So I was always made fun of because of my femininity and my feminine behaviors. But at that time, like I said, we did not see transgender rights activists. We did not see people standing up and raising voice for the transgender community. But now we see that in many universities and many education institutions, we go there, we are invited as speakers, and we sensitize the students and the teachers. And currently, like I said, that the Ministry of Human Rights is working on the implementation of the transgender law that was passed last year.
Right, protection law. Please let us know about it, the details, please.
Yes, so, so last year in 2018, I mean, it's 2 years back now, we are 2020. So in May 2018, the Transgender Act was passed, and it was a very long process. It took us for almost 2 years. National Task Force was established, and the Senator Rubina Khalid from the PPP was the chairperson of that task force, and we had several meetings. And the good thing was that the government involved the transgender activists from all the provinces. So that the community was involved in this lawmaking process. And so it took us almost 2 years to get this law passed, and it was signed by the president in May 2018.
All right.
And now the Ministry of Human Rights, under this new government, under the leadership of Dr. Shiri Mazari, who is our federal minister, we are working on its implementation.
Perfect.
So we are we have drafted rules of the act. We have drafted guidelines for the police, because we have seen that the transgender community faces a lot of issues from the
They're misdealt
police.
with.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we need to have proper policies for all these government departments. And as you mentioned, that education is very important.
It's
and
the key.
The kind of problem that I faced as a child, because as you have already explained it in a very beautiful way, that a transgender child is made fun of, it's bullied by the students and the teachers as well. And even if I recall, and when I was studying, I was doing my BBA, I never had any friend because nobody was comfortable being friends with a transgender person. So I think we need to have these sensitization sessions in all the education institutions, and the relevant departments need to have policies. For example, if we apply for the admission form should have the option of transgender on there, because so that whoever is filling the admission form, he or she must know that they are transgender people and they are equal citizen of the country and they deserve the same dignity.
Absolutely, acknowledged before even accepted. Right? I think that you very rightly said that. But Aisha, since you mentioned that you yourself were a victim of bullying as well, can I tell you a story? Of course, I'm not going to reveal the name of the person as well. Now, this amazing, I mean, of course, physically a man, we know from our university, but that person always identified as a female, right? And we were very good friends with them, but physically still a man. So over the summer vacation, they got, surgical changes in their body, and now they are a fully functioning female, identifying as a female, changed their name and everything. And our university did not know where to place them in terms of male hostels or female hostels. There had to be a proper, committee to sit and decide where to put them. And for a very long time, they could not do that. And then, of course, there were so many different, the forms had to be changed, the entire procedure had to be changed. Why is it so complicated?
Let me tell you that the good thing now is that we have the law, and the law gives the right to to change the name and gender marker on your CNIC.
Oh, perfect.
So now the situation is different.
Okay.
So any person who is in the process of transition, that transgender person can get his or her name and gender marker changed on CNIC, and then
Right.
all the other credentials would be updated accordingly.
Oh, that is such a great initiative as well. That is a first step in the step of so many that we need to take. Ladies and gentlemen, when Aisha spoke about the Transgender Protection Bill, I think it is, I mean, as basic as you guys think it is, it's not really basic. I'll tell you why. Every other day, if you're on social media and you do come across news, you do know this as well, in different parts of Pakistan that probably I shouldn't even mention right now. Transgenders are dealt with in such a violent way, not even a bad or a rude way. Violent is the word, ladies and gentlemen, and by all sorts of authorities, be it the staff at a hospital where they're going for any sort of checkup. You very rightly mentioned police as well, misdealt with even in front of our eyes. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of you might have seen as well, if you see a transgender person begging as well, the police, the first thing that they will do, beat them up in front of the public. Why? And then, I mean, we're talking about the behavior of students already mentioned as well. We're talking about the behavior of the shopkeepers where you go to shop. They harass you. I mean, they violate your right to roam around freely as well. This is why we need the protection bill. It is in place, you very rightly mentioned. So please read up on it and educate yourself on how you need to behave. But moving on, Aisha, there's also this health card coming out, is it? Please let me know about it and what benefits is it providing?
Okay, sorry.
No
So
problem.
recently, the Ministry of Health has launched this program, and the first time in the history of Pakistan, there was this event of launch ceremony in the Prime Minister House.
Yeah.
So this is the Sehat card facility for all those transgender people who have been registered as transgender with NADRA.
Okay, okay.
And it would cover their all those expenditures which would happen when they are admitted in the hospital.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, for example, the surgeries, dialysis, and other treatments.
That's such a good initiative because, I mean, even as normal people, I don't think a lot of people can afford that, right?
Yes.
But there have been health cards for general public, but now specifically for transgenders,
transgender,
I think
yes.
it's such a good initiative. Aisha Mughal, you were such a delight to speak with. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to have you back in my show again, inshallah, and we shall talk about so many different things too. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like as an individual, as a society, it is the duty of each and every single person watching right now or even not watching to change your behavior, be a little more accepting towards, you know, all different type of genders in the society. You really don't have to be so uptight and rigid about what you have been told ever since you were a child. I mean, make your mind open to accepting new things as well. This is how we can coexist as a society. I mean, this world, the society, the country, everything is about coexistence. This is not about one person. It's about each and every single person, each and every single creation that Allah created. I mean, can't you think that your God, if He created something out of, I mean, His will, it must be so perfect and beautiful. Why do you have to put labels of a man or a female on someone that your God created that way? Please be mindful of not hurting anyone. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything you need to write to us, please write us on our Facebook page with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter, World This Morning without a G, Daily Motion, and YouTube, also World This Morning. And the repeat you can catch at 5:11 p.m. tonight. Till the next time, take care. Good morning.
their own seed
Okay.
by giving them the different techniques for the scientific grounds.
All right. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for being here, especially gentlemen, Dr. Noshirwan, Dr. Taj, Dr. Azim. But since, very shortly, I want you, Dr. Azim, to let everyone know out there who's interested in this, where to contact you guys. Can they call you as well? Can they see you in terms of a training session as well? This is the camera. Please speak to everyone out there.
I think it's
website
very
as
easy
well.
if you go to the website of the PARC, and I think after this program we will further put our even phone number and our mobile numbers.
Perfect.
It will be coming at the top of our website today.
Okay.
So they can contact the person who can guide them, and if they want training, they can be involved in those trainings.
Oh, wow.
And they want to visit us, if they want to have, want to buy something or get something from the NARC,
Yeah.
National Agriculture Research Center, Horticulture Research Institute. Taj Naseeb is there as the director, Noshirwan is there, my other colleagues are also there.
All right.
Dr. Ghulam Jilani is also very instrumental, very hardworking person. So shortly we will be now preparing early season summer nurseries
Okay.
in large number, maybe in 15 days or a month time.
All right.
So, and then this will be at a larger scale. So if they want to produce these things at their home, we will be supporting them. If they want to get from us, we will be providing them.
Wow, thank you so much
Thank
for all the
thank you.
details. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are doing an amazing job. Ladies and gentlemen, I really hope you took something away from this show, because I know I did, and my mom was texting me, she did as well. Because I feel like this is a very important thing for you to grow, stuff that you need on daily basis on your own. We are really, I feel like, on Facebook, on Twitter as well, we're really open in saying every other day, tomato itna mehanga ho gaya, or things that we need to buy on daily basis. Why don't we grow them organically and benefit our health, benefit our peers, our family members as well? So if there's anything you need to ask, if there's anything you need to write to us, write on our Facebook page with the name of Well This Morning, on Twitter, Well This Morning without a G, Daily Motion, YouTube, also Well This Morning. And if you've missed this show, it's all right, you can catch the repeat at 11 p.m. tonight. Till the next time, good morning.